So hello, Ishmit.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
So we're up to 7 people in the session now with us. Let's wait like 2 more minutes to see if we have any other people coming.
Absolutely.
But during this time, I think, Jonathan, you can introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for making time for the session. Like you have heard, my name is Jonathan Gishoy. I'm from Kenya, and I'm representing the UiPath Nairobi chapter. And today I'm going to be taking you through the introduction to RPA. I hope you're going to have a candid, open discussion whereby it will be two-way conversation whereby you can share your feedback as well as your questions. Feel free to leave your questions on the chat box, and we'll be responding to them as we progress.
Okay, let's start. Go through the introduction.
Okay, so today in our first session, we are very delighted to have Christina as well as Ishmit. Probably I'll just give them a chance probably to introduce themselves. And if you have Vibo, probably can also introduce himself.
I think Vibor will probably join us later if he can.
Okay.
Okay, so I will let Ishmit introduce himself first. Ishmit, would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, then let me go first until Ishmit pings back into the session. So I'm Christina. I'm the regional community manager for EMEA from UiPath. And I wish you a warm welcome today for this first session of the Nairobi chapter. We're very glad to start this chapter in Nairobi with Jonathan. And this is the very first session. It will take you through an introduction and go through the UiPath platform, in introduction to RPA, and it will also like try to check what your levels and what your interaction with RPA was so far. And just to see all that the UiPath platform has to offer for you now in terms of working with and tutorials and learning RPA, of course. I see we have some comments like I'm able to hear. I hope everyone can hear me. I have my mic turned on. Okay, everyone can hear. Good. So now I will let Ishmit introduce himself if he's on. Ishmit.
Hello. Thank you so much, Christina. And hi, everyone. My name is Ishmit Bindra. I'm from New Delhi, India. I'm a senior RPA developer. I have been working in RPA industry for past 3 years, primarily in UiPath, and I have also been working in IT industry for past 4 years. Within this amount of time, I got an opportunity to become a UiPath MVP, and I'm also a 2 times UiPath Global Hacker. And I'm glad that all of us are here to see and learn essentially what RPA is and how we can essentially go ahead and automate our processes. So glad to be here, and thank you all of you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ishmit, for that introduction. So Ishmit is I'm one of our hackathon winners, hyper hack winners, as he said. So we're very glad to have him with us today. And Jonathan, I will let you now go through the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. So to start us off, probably we'll start by watching a video.
This is the story of work. It started a long time ago on a Monday, which was handled for as long.
Let me know if you can hear it clearly? Just make it full screen.
Yes, click play now.
Handy. For as long as history itself, the humans needed to work. They wanted to work, to grow things and create things and build things, to see what they were capable of, to stand at day's end and say, I did that, which felt pretty good. So they worked more, built more, and created more, and traveled to far-off places. And then someone suggested submitting expense reports for those far-off places. His name was Glenn, and he was a jackass. Anyway, the people kept getting better at work. They built better tools to work more efficiently. They built amazing machines to work faster. They built computers to work smarter. But still, they couldn't do enough work. Because during all that work to do more work, they had created work, and not the good kind. Not the let's sit around and come up with ideas kind. Not the I can't wait to get to work so I can jump into a new project kind. The crap kind. The drudge and data and admin and the damned expense reports. So the humans had to work more at work they didn't like. That made them robotic. That didn't inspire. They had to postpone vacations. They had to miss family dinners. They were pissed. And then something happened. Someone had a really amazing idea. They came into work and said, stop working and start working. The humans thought she might have had wine at lunch, so she showed them a way to put the fun back into work, to waste less time doing the things they hated, to make more efficient the big tasks, to stop making the humans act like robots and start teaching the robots to learn the humans. Not to replace people, but to free them. Even Glenn. Robots that learn you. Imagine the potential, like starting over, to help us remember again that work only really works when we're happy at it.
Okay. So as you probably put on that, I'll just quickly, I'll do another assessment whereby I'll request everyone probably if they can log in from their laptop or from their phones, just to do a quick survey. So just type www.community.com.
Okay, I will paste in the chat the link so they can easily copy it. And also the code. Yeah. Guys, you have it in the chat now. Go to menti.com to do this quiz for assessment so we can see what's the level in the session. Okay, we have one person in. Let's see who else joins. So go to menti.com and just paste this code or type in 411900393. We still have only one person in Menti. Okay, two.
Interacted. Nice. Okay.
So we have all levels. It's good. Okay, I think we have the full answers now. It's okay, we can move on.
Okay, so the next question is, which platform have you interacted with previously? If you have not, probably can say never.
So this is a type-in answer, like which RPA platform have you interacted with previously?
Okay.
Okay, so we have citizen developers. We have competition.
Okay. Probably the last one, then we proceed.
I think it's okay. So we have a fair amount of everything. We have a citizen developer, we have an absolute beginner, we have someone who interacted with competition technology, and UiPath person. I don't know exactly which product or on what level, but if you want to specify, you can still answer, I think.
Okay.
We can move on.
And proceed, yes. So thank you for participating in that one. So today, our learning objective, we believe that at the tail end, you'll be able to understand what is RPA, what are the resources available in the UiPath community ecosystem, be able to define and understand the variable as well as the different data types that we have. Lastly, we will talk about the control flows as well as the types of control flows. So I believe at the tail end, you'll be able to have like a basic understanding on how you can get started on your automation journey. You'll be able to install UiPath Studio, and also you'll be able to understand the different types in UiPath Studio. And lastly, you'll create a simple control flow function. So we'll start with the basic. What is robotic process automation? And for me, I like to break it into three aspects. So we'll first define robotics, we'll define process, then automation, then you can see how it all ties back together. So if you look at robotics on its own, this is more of like an entity that has capability and capacity to mimic the human actions. For example, if you are typing, it has the ability to mimic that particular action you're doing, the keyboard inputs, and do it on its own. The second bit is on the process. So we normally define a process as a sequence of activities or tasks done to derive a particular outcome. So for example, if you're opening an account, that's the different activities in that process is a customer fills an account opening process, the application form is reviewed by a verifier or an inputter, then those details are transferred to a system. So that's a process. And lastly, an automation hereby we're looking at basically having either with an individual or without an individual, having a task happening without that human interaction or human intervention. So that's the automation. So in general, if you look into that, RPA is more of a technology that enables a software program to mimic human interactions with interacting with computer applications to accomplish a required task. So we have different examples. So for example, some of the human interactions can be keyboard input. For example, you are typing in something from a keyboard, we can be able to mimic that specific action that you're doing and do it using a robot. The next bit probably can be mouse click. You have logged into a system, you're clicking probably specific fields. This similar can be mimicked. And also lastly is reading computer screen. So for example, we have, let's say we have Jumia and we have OLX, and you like to quickly go through those particular sites and read either content from those sites. If you're purchasing a phone, you just want to go to those and see which site will give you a cheaper price for that particular phone which you would want to buy. So the same can be mimicked through a robot, which is now a quick definition of RPA. So we have had interesting conversations around RPA that guys look at RPA as a bot that is a robot that is coming probably at work and it will be sitting next to you. But RPA is not a humanoid robot, whereby it is not an actual robot that is coming to like sit next to you, sit next to your company just to take everything over. And also RPA is not going to replace humans. the conversation is that RPA is coming to replace humans, but we need to clearly distinguish that RPA is more of, I look at it is that it's going to replace the activities. If you can remember, that video that you're having is giving people the ability to have meaningful engagements, take time to ideate and create and generate solutions, rather than being a input-output person whereby you're just there as doing the actual processing of items, rather than taking a step back and reviewing those items, validating those items, and making critical decisions based on those activities. Okay, so RPA also is not just another cost-saving method whereby guys are looking at, if you are bringing RPA, it's just coming you're looking at only one angle of RPA in terms of cost saving, but there's much more to RPA, which we believe that moving forward, you're going to discover, you're going to understand, and you're going to explore and also implement some of the discoveries that you're going to make. So another question is, what can a software robot do? So in this example, probably I'd like you to think where you currently are and just try to see some of the activities that you normally perform and relate to the same. So for example, logging into an application. So probably you work at a call center whereby you need to log into a particular CRM to confirm customer data, or you work, for example, at a bank whereby you need to log into your core banking system just to pick information for a particular customer and share that information with the customer. So this activity can be mimicked and can be done by a software robot to achieve the same. Also, if you are trying to move files, for example, you are downloading files from a specific folder to another shared folder, this similar case can be achieved using a software robot. Also, if, for example, you have documents and you like to extract, so you can either extract, there are different scenarios here. If, let's say, you are in a finance department and you normally receive invoices, some of them probably are handwritten, or others are typed, you can be able to extract content from that particular PDF using various tools that you are going to explore as we move forward. Some of the tools probably I can just mention is the optic OCR character reader. This is something that you learn as you progress. You can also extract information and from the website, like I mentioned previously, you want to buy a phone and you have logged into Jumia, you have logged into OLX, and you want to compare the prices. So you can have this particular task be performed by a software robot, whereby you log into Jumia, it will run through the iPhone that you want to purchase, check for you the prices, also logs into OLX, search for you the phone, and checks for you the prices, then gives you an output. So it will give you that solution, then you'll make the decision to whether proceed with the OLX or Jumia. And lastly, you can be able to use the software robot to do your calculations. So for example, same case, you normally do a return, a reconciliation report at the end of the day or monthly or periodically. You can be able to create or mimic that entire process using a software robot, and the same can be achieved. And lastly, if you're having a database, probably this is more to someone in IT whereby they like to read a particular database and extract information from that, or to add, delete, or modify a particular database. You can be able also to achieve the same using a software robot. And examples go on and go on. So what are the benefits of RPA? If you look at all those scenarios that I've given you, key thing that you can pick is increase in execution speed. So here you're looking at, for example, that particular task. Let's just make the basis on you trying to purchase a phone and you're logging to OLX as well as to Jumia. That particular task can probably take 20 to 30 minutes. But if you're using a software robot, you can be able to achieve that in less than 1 minute or 5 minutes on the same case. If you're doing a monthly reconciliation whereby you have to download 2 or 3 Excel documents, you have to do VLOOKUPs, you have to do all those calculations. If you implement a software robot, if you have the software robot, it can be able to do all that process for you and it gives you an output. So for you, what you need to do is just to validate that particular outcome that you have been able to derive and see if it's making sense. So the same can help you to reduce the actual TAT in terms of processing work that you normally do. The next bit is enhanced accuracy. So hereby you're saying that in terms of error rates, it will be a significant reduction in terms of the error rates, simply because the software robot is running on the rules that you have personally set, and you have validated those rules. The second bit is that it gives you the option to validate on the outcome. If the outcome is correct, you can be able to proceed. You can create in different intervals, you can create probably a validation stage, whereby rather than it running through end to end, it can pause and gives you the output. You just validate. If it's okay, you can trigger it to proceed successfully. The next bit is on improved regulatory compliance. So here's whereby, for example, there are some set standards that you have been able to set, and frameworks probably you have been able to define within your organization, and also across board, for example, set standards from, let's say, CBK or anything like that. So you can be able to implement those specific compliance regulatory standards in your software robot, and it can ensure that it's aligned and it does not miss, and it delivers as per the set standards. The next bit is on reduced cost of process execution. So hereby we are looking at, for example, let's start probably on the e-waste. Previously, what would have happened is that you would have downloaded that particular, if it's a report, you would have downloaded that particular report, you would have printed it out, you would have taken time and shared it out with another party, probably using a courier. The other party would have reviewed, then signs or does verify on that particular document, sends it back to you again through a courier. If you look at it all, the same can now be achieved quickly and easily using the software robot, whereby you just download, you validate, then if you want, you can send it through an email, or you can encrypt it, whichever option that you prefer, and it saves you the cost in terms of courier, in terms of paper, all those. And lastly is the ability to scale. So the software robot, now in this case RPA, gives you the ability to integrate with, the beauty about it is that it can integrate with almost everything, all the softwares and all the systems that you're currently using. So it's highly liquid and it's highly scalable. So irrespective of which platform that you're currently using, you can be able to quickly integrate with it, and it can be able to assist you and run through with it. If you have any question, please leave on the chat. So how can you identify which processes are best suited for RPA? So in these cases, you're looking at same example where you currently work. How can I know that this particular process that I'm running can be integrated with RPA? So the first bit is on repetitiveness. So here you're looking at the process should be very simple and standard. So, and you should be doing this particular task or process on a day-to-day basis. So it's repetitive, the structure is still the same. So in our example, probably you're downloading the document, so the process is still the same. Every day you log into the system, you go and download from the CRM, then you analyze, you do the calculations, the VLOOKUPs and all those sorts, then you send it to someone. So that's same case, you can do the same today, tomorrow. So that one qualifies for RPA automation. The next bit is rule-based, whereby you've already set the standards. So for example, the first rule is to log into the system, that's the first standard. The second bit is to validate. The third standard is probably to send an email. So it's crystal, the steps are clear and very simple to follow. The last bit is structure. So hereby you're looking at, in this document that probably I'm downloading from the system, it has the first row, for example, has these headers. So I know that next time if I open that, I'll be expecting probably the same headers for that particular document that I'm downloading. So I've already seen that is structured across board. You can easily mimic it if you want to automate it. So that qualifies for RPA automation. So I'm probably to assist in answering the questions. So let's look at probably the different use cases across board. So like I mentioned in finance, if you're looking at to process a pay, this is one of the critical items that's normally happening in finance. This is something that can easily be automated, and this is something that can quickly be deployed using an RPA. Same case, records to report. So you are downloading and you're working on specific records and you like to translate them to a report, you can be able to achieve the same using RPA. For example, also probably you might be in HR, and one of the key things is onboarding, and you have set the standards that to onboard an individual, some of the key requirements is either they provide, in Kenya, for example, they need to provide their NSSF number, they need to provide their KRA PIN, they need to provide their NHIF number, and you take all those information and you feed it to a specific system. You can be able to integrate and have a software robot to do all that for you. Once they receive those particular documents in a specific manner, they can be able to run across board and just onboard that particular employee to your organization. The next bit is probably in supply chain. You're in operations, and one of the key things that you normally do is invoices and contract management. So you have probably a contractor who sends you, let's say, some invoices, or who sends you some documents which you need to, every time you receive those documents, what you need to do is to validate those documents and probably send them, upload them to a system. This is something that also can be quickly be integrated with RPA. And probably lastly, on a contact center, you're working in a contact center, and one of the key things you're focusing on is the inbound and the outbound calls. And in this case, for example, you like to set a system whereby, for example, if I send if I call through the contact center and based on the probably the number of rings, it does not happen, it should automatically trigger another process whereby it will send, for example, to that particular customer a message or a follow-up text to tell them that you'll get back to you at a certain point. Okay, the examples are limitless. For example, also if you're working in insurance sector, whereby there's claim processing, an individual has to fill a claim form, and you have to review the claim then before you proceed and disburse payments. So hereby you can automate the process whereby an individual can either fill a digital form or he can fill the physical form but send it through. Then the system can be able to pick and can read the specific fields that have been filled by that particular individual, and it can extract and feed probably to your system. Okay, so I'll just touch base on currently what's happening, what are the statistics out there. So previously there was a survey that was done by McKinsey, and from the survey it showed that in Kenya alone, and for specific selected sectors, we have 52% possibility of potential of automation, whereby we are saying that 7.4 million employees, some of the tasks that they do can be automated. Okay. Also, there was a survey that was done by Deloitte, and this survey was across C-suite senior leaders, and from what they said is that 53% of them have already started thinking, they've already started implementing the RPA, and some of them believe that in the next two years, they're going to be verified in terms of implementing, in terms of increasing their RPA in the organization. Also, from the 78% of those who responded, they have already started implementing RPA, and they have already started seeing the return on investment. So for example, when you're saying in terms of cost, in terms of quality, and in terms of throughput, they have already started seeing those, and they expect to see more in the next 3 years. Okay, so allow me to probably welcome Christina back again so that she can talk a bit on UiPath. Christina. Hello?
I think Christina is on mute.
Christina, if you're on mute. Okay, if Christina is not there, probably Ishmeet, you can just mention a bit about UiPath.
Absolutely. Okay, so thank you so much, Jonathan. And let's talk about UiPath and where it lies on scale of like the entire RPA world. So the UiPath essentially started in 2005, and we started by a simple screen scraping tool that was actually capable enough to scrape any kind of a text from any given site or any given application. Now, what you have to understand here is that this was a time when there were other tools that were only able to scrape text from websites. So UiPath from the very beginning, it was like, oh, Christina is back. Hey, Christina.
But you can continue. I'm sorry, I was just after a glass of water. You can continue with the presentation of history of UiPath.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So essentially, you can think of it like at that time, UiPath, like from the very beginning, it was a pioneer, and we started actually by, like, if you talk from the technical point of view, we had the capabilities of working on desktop. Finally, UiPath was founded in Romania, and then it's a story of just success. You can see that in 2013, built our base platform on UI automation. We primarily focused on, you can say, creating a tool that can help not only the companies, but also the developers in order for creating an end-to-end automation. UiPath tool allows developers to perform action just with the help of drag and drop operations. So now you don't have to actually go ahead and write complex codes for doing any kind of or completing any kind of a business logic. You have components that are already built for you. You just need to reuse them. And those components are built by a highly skilled developer who also provides support. So on that front, you are covered. Then comes 2017 when we had a Series A investment and we had our first headquarters in New York City. That was a very big success for us. And finally, between 2017 and 18, we introduced a couple of things. So we introduced integration of multiple types of OCR, and this is something that I'm really proud of. Like, UiPath is a tool that actually allows you to use many of the paid versions of OCR or many of the, you can say, advanced OCR for free within the tool itself. If you download the tool, see that we have Google, Microsoft, OmniPage, and also our own home-built UiPath OCR that will actually allow you to extract data from any kind of an application. Not only we have OCR, we also have computer vision that actually allows you to deal with, you can say, the complex objects that are available on the screen, such as checkboxes or any kind of, you can say, any kind of text box in those scenarios where you cannot directly interact with them, such as in an image. It was a time when we also proposed our image that everyone should be having a bot for themselves, a bot for every person. So now, as you know, there are a couple of tools in IT that you cannot work about, such as Excel, your Word, or entire Office suite. We have a similar kind of you can say, dream in mind that there should be a bot for every person. It should be acting as your assistant, and hence we call it UiPath Assistant, a tool that allows you to trigger the bot. So it will act as your assistant. It will do a part of a job for you and essentially will make your life easy. Through this vision, in 2018, we got a Series B and C investment. We introduced AI computer vision, which was an advanced level of computer vision that I talked about, that included artificial intelligence. Around the same time, we also introduced AI Center, like that allowed people who had never ever worked on any kind of a machine learning or an artificial intelligence project to actually go ahead, utilize the capabilities of machine learning within their own projects. This was a very big deal because as a developer, now I don't have to invest a lot of time and a lot of my efforts to learn mathematics, to learn programming languages, just in order to create and use a model. The models are already there. I have a proper and clear standard way of providing the input and getting the output. And as a developer and as a business user, that is really what matters. That we just need to provide some input and we get an output. It could be an analytic output, a detection output, anything. That is where AI Center actually shines. So then in 2019 itself, due to our past Successes, Gartner actually granted us a leader in RPA. leader in leader in the magic quadrant of RPA. So that was very, very great for us. And in the similar time, we also introduced process mining, human in loop, test suite, human in loop and test suite. So process mining is a tool. I will just talk a little bit about all these topics, but definitely I would urge all of you go ahead and basically explore them on their own. Because now UiPath, as you can see, till 2017 we had a limited set, but in 2019 we have so many products that we have to actually go ahead and you can say upgrade ourselves in terms of our academy, and our academy is the best place to learn any of our products. So just go to academy.uipath.com in order to learn about anything that we are going to talk about today. That is the best place to learn about UiPath and our. Okay, talking about process mining, this actually allowed us to identify processes, allowed us to identify bottlenecks, and also help companies to automate more. Okay. Then we also introduced the concept of human in loop, because we will talk about this a bit more. Jonathan will be shining a light on this, like what are intended automation, what are unintended automation. But human in loop allowed humans to work along with bots. So it's no more like either human will be working or bot will be. Both of them will be working hand in hand. This is something revolutionary. We allowed humans to provide input to the bot, interact with the bot in a different way using Action Center, using UiPath forms. There are multiple ways of handling. And now we have that capability available in community version as well. So you can utilize it for free. We also have Test Suite and Studio X that was introduced in 2020. And I would say that this is the most demanded feature. The Test Suite allows you to any kind of test automation that you want to do within RPA or within mobile. We had a very good integration with a couple of mobile testing services that allow you to actually simulate the test, get the result, and everything is seamless. So everything can happen on cloud. You just care about the instance. We also introduced the concept of Studio X and Automation Cloud. Studio X is essentially for general people who don't want to be a developer, but want to automate a couple of things. So you must have heard about the recording feature of recording of macro, a feature that is available in Excel. That is not for hardcore developers, but for people who actually just want to do small automation. Studio X is sort of like that, but with much, much more power. It actually allows you to do complex automation without diving deep into the concepts that are required for that. You have plug and play elements which are very, very easily defined, and you can go ahead and create your own automation. And the best part about it is most of the automations that you need are already available on our marketplace. So also keep in mind that you go to our marketplace, explore all the automations that are available there, and I'm 100% sure whatever automation you're looking for, you might find, you will be finding there in one way or another. Then finally, in mid of 2020, we got a Series E investment, and then it was just a matter of growth. We then released UiPath Apps, which was another way of, you can say, creating a low-code way of creating an entire website. So yeah, yes, you heard it right. You can build your own website with just drag and drop components, and that website is actually capable enough to interact with your bots. So if you want to trigger the bot from externally, just with the help of your browser, or with the help of or with the help of your phone, you can do it now with the help of UiPath Apps, and it is quite interactive. So it can be back and forth. So you tell bot something, bot tells you something back. Finally got Series F investment, and the biggest thing that we did, we became public company. It was a very big. So we also introduced task mining. Task mining was there for quite a while, but we introduced the stable version of it, and now we are at #1 in market share, and we are a leader in RPA. Guys, believe me, this journey has been short, but this journey has been really, really incredible, and we are looking forward to many, many steps further than what we are doing. Our mission is to deliver fully automated enterprise single platform doing everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishmit, for that very nice presentation. Actually, you did a much better job on presenting the introduction of product and product feature than I would have done, because I'm not a developer and I'm not so familiar with them. And to describe each entry on this list of milestones. What I can say is that when looking at this roadmap and how the company has grown, and considering the fact that we are one of the fastest growing company ever, and that for the last 4 years we have been able to maintain the #1 place in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, that shows the power actually of the technology and of the products of UiPath, because everything you see here and this incredible growth, which led to a public listing, is actually all in the power of the product and how good the technology is and how well it performs, how easy it is to use, and the accessibility of it. So I hope after today, all of you who have interacted partially or not interacted at all will be at least curious to interact a bit with the UiPath technology. Thank you, Ishmit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christina.
Jonathan, I think we can move on to the next slide. I think if there are any questions regarding the products or the company, we can take them in Q&A.
Probably you can just make a mention on this one.
I will let Ishmit, I will let you guys comment on the products, because I think it's better coming from a developer view than for me.
Sure. So Jonathan, would you like me to take this?
Sure.
Okay. So UiPath Studio, it is a product that allows you to design the workflow or design your automations visually. So what do we mean by visually? So in order to write a code, I hope that all of you are familiar with code, that very complex, or I'll not say it's very complex, but depending from person to person, it varies. So having the screen open in front of you, writing each and every line and everything. That is very, very good. But the issue with that is it takes time for development. And in today's fast-paced world, and in today's high requirement and very complex requirement world, we need something that can deliver quick and can be reliable enough to be deployed. And this is something that actually this product of UiPath Studio that is something that actually allows us to develop highly complex automations with the help of simple drag and drop operations. Now, having that said, I'll definitely tell you that having a programmatic mindset, it's definitely helpful for you. But this UiPath Studio actually allows you to simply drag and drop a single any kind of a component in order to perform an action. You might have to provide a couple of, you can say, properties. For example, if you want to type something anywhere, you have to provide what text you have to type. But that's pretty much it. You don't have to actually code anything. You don't have to actually go ahead and do anything extra in terms of like handling errors for that single activity, or handling errors for any kind of action, because our packages are already doing them for you. Obviously, you can do for precaution measures, you can add a couple of exception handling mechanisms, and we have a very, very good guide available on Academy that helps you in order to start your development journey. So we have different versions of Studio. We have Studio X, we have Studio Pro, and we have normal Studio. Normal Studio allows you to do development and basically creation of different types of bots, such as attended, unattended. You can also use some of our templates, such as background automation, in which you and the bot can work parallelly. You can also create long-running workflows in which bot can work, or bot can wait for you for days in an suspended mode, so that whenever you have some time to provide input to the bot, it will continue the work. That is the power of UiPath Studio. Orchestrator. Orchestrator is a place where whatever code we have written in Studio, we deploy. Whenever we write some code, we need a repository and we need a control mechanism. That is our orchestrator. orchestrator acts as a central control repository and a mechanism through which we can actually trigger the bots, we can schedule the bots, and we can also go ahead and define complex logics within the orchestrator itself in order to generate some insights. We can actually go ahead and you can say, if I want to see how much license I am using, if I want to see how many bots are currently running, what's the failure rate, if you want to get some, what's the queue utilization, what's the license utilization, everything you can get from the orchestrator itself. It helps you to manage and control the bots. And the best part about it is customizable. If you want orchestrator to run as per your as per your company's guidelines, so very small thing, every company follows a certain type of calendar. They have their own leave mechanism, they have their own holiday mechanism. So if you want orchestrator to be following that, you have a neat feature of uploading your entire company's calendar within orchestrator so that all the bots follow that calendar. This is a very, very neat feature and a very, very handy feature through which you can actually just schedule the bot and forget about it. And you can be very, very sure that bot won't be running on a day on which you have a holiday. So this is a very neat feature. Then comes about execution. So see, Robot is a place. A robot is another kind of a software that usually gets installed with Studio itself, but you can also install it standalone. And this is something that you can say knits it all together. This is something through which orchestrator or even Studio is able to run the code that we have written. Robot is our executor. This executes any kind of the automation that we have built, and it is responsible for tracking those automation, for creation of the logs, for communicating with orchestrator, and also making sure that if there is any failure, user is properly informed. If there is any schedule, it runs on time. And if there is any shortcut that you have mapped to a particular automation, for example, Control C is for copying a particular item from the screen. You can say Control Shift C to trigger a bot. So you can program this within a robot, which is also known as an assistant. So these three products are base of, we can say, our RPA, or base of, you can say, the development or base of the development and deployment within the RPA world of your. Using these three, using Studio, you can do the development. Using Orchestrator, you can manage your code, and with the help of Robot, you can actually run the code that you have written. These three works hand in hand, and we would love you to explore more about them in Academy. Once I'm done with this particular thing, we will go ahead and also share a couple of resources with you in the chat so that you can learn more about this. Jonathan?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll proceed. So we'll proceed now, just so that everyone can now have the actual understanding. And quickly we'll go to UiPath Studio. So in this case, probably I'll do an actual live example whereby if you're going to create those specific automation on your own, you need to download the UiPath Studio. So for us to do that, I'll just take you through the quick 5 steps. So one of the key things is to, Schmidt, probably you can paste this particular link to the chat so that guys can pick it up. So one of the key thing is to click on that link. Then let me just hide this one. So it will bring you to this specific, if you click on it, it will bring you here. So the next bit is to sign up for UiPath Automation Cloud for Community. So you can either log in through your Google account or you can sign up afresh. So I'll just continue with my Google. And I'll sign in. So in your case here, you can create a new organization. For my case, I've already downloaded it previously. So I'll just continue. But in your case, please proceed and create a new organization and follow the quick questions. So for my case, I'll just click continue. So just, if you have questions, please leave them at the chat, and Ishmeet and probably other guys can be able to assist you. So once you do that, it will bring you to this particular landing page. You can proceed and click download UiPath Studio. So if you click download, a pop-up will appear. I'll not download because I already have it. So a pop-up will appear and it will start downloading. So it's around 564 MB.
Jonathan, I think we have to mention that when they click the link, I pasted the link in the chat now for Automation Cloud. Of course, this is for the community edition. So this is for the free community edition, which you will download. And you need to build credentials for that. You need an Automation Cloud account, which Jonathan already has. So when you click on the link I pasted in chat, it will take you to a page. You must go to the right side of the page and build an account. No, this is free. So anyone can download the community edition of UiPath. Elijah. It's just that you have to take the time and place your name, last name, and email there to build an account. You can use your company email, or you can use a personal email. That will make no difference for this. You might have some problems if you have some security thresholds on your computer. If it's a company computer, some of them might have some problems in downloading and installing because of security installed on them. But if anyone managed to build the account and select and download, let us know in the chat. And I will let Jonathan just go on and demo this, because you will have the recording for this session, and then you will be able to watch the recording and take it step by step in your own pace and make the account and download Studio.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll proceed. So once you proceed and download, it will bring a pop-up. Now I'll just open. So you'll be able to download something like this. Just like this one. So you'll be able to download something like this, and it will bring you to this particular. It will bring you to this particular landing page. So here it will show that yours is an community edition. For me, I have an enterprise, so yours it will be a community edition. And now this is now the basic. So you'll start by downloading. It will bring a pop-up, if I can recall, and you can proceed and select Studio for a starter. Then you complete those few steps. Then it will bring you this, and you'll be ready to go. We'll come back to this in a short. Okay. Let's just go back to our presentation. So that's the first step on how to download and install UiPath Studio. I believe you'll have a lot to learn once you start interacting with that particular platform. So the next bit is on UiPath Community. So this is a one-stop place whereby you can learn, you can connect with other teams, you can share your knowledge with peers, you can connect with other chapters. For example, if there's an event happening, let's say in India, and you might be interested, you can do that using chapter. So to log into chapter, you just need to type community.uipath.com. So I'll just click into it. So this is the basic landing page. So if you log in, it can allow you to set up your account. So the beauty about community is that it gives you like a snapshot of if you're interested in understanding the products, in understanding if you have a question, you can use the forums here, you can paste your questions here, or you can go to forums and get guidance. Let me just open it quickly. If you have a question, you can just come here and paste, or if you're interested in a specific topic and you need help, or you want to understand what has been done or what has been researched and discussed around it, you can just come here and search. You can search here. If you go back to, let me just go back. If you go back to what I was saying, community, if you want to just get a quick heads up on what's happening, for example, let's say in Kenya, and you just want to see some of the events that are happening, let me just quickly take you back. If you want to see some of the events, if you scroll that back, down you'll see this is the event that's currently happening today in Nairobi. If you're interested, let's say if you want to understand how you can use G Suite, this is Google Sheets, Google application, you can log in and partake this particular event and understand it further. And also if you scroll down, you can search for a chapter here, or you can scroll down and search by region. So if you, let's say you go to Africa and you're interested in joining Lagos chapter, you can just proceed and click there. If you're new to Nairobi chapter and you have not taken part, here we have the Nairobi chapter, you can proceed and join the chapter so that you can be able to get informed in the event of activities. If we have something that's happening in that particular chapter, if there's a training, you can be able to partake those. So I'll just go back to the slides. So I've spoken about community. Now I'll just talk about more on academy. So if you can quickly recall, we started by asking what's your basic understanding on RPA. So that was to give us a sense on where you can start. So if you type in academy.uipath.com, just proceed here and type it. academy.uipath.com. It will take you to this particular landing page. So the beauty about this platform is that it gives you a sense on where you can start. So for those guys who are new to RPA, you have the ability to start at RPA Developer Foundation. So this is, it will give you the basics, to give you more information on how to log into Studio, how you can be able to create simple tasks, etc. If you are at advanced level, you can either proceed to do Citizen Developer, RPA Analyst Foundation, or you can do specific courses that you might be interested in. Like some of the items that were being mentioned by Schmidt, you can just proceed and find them here. So you can, if you go to learning by role, I think this is the best place to start from. So here you have, you can select where you are. So in this case, you have the beginner, the intermediate, the advanced. So if you're a beginner, just proceed and look at the beginner courses. So it will give you most of them the foundational courses, whereby it will take you through and give you a better understanding on using UiPath and the platform itself. Also, if you are more interested, probably you can proceed and do the actual certification. So here we have the RPA Associate Certification, and we also have an advanced RPA Developer Certification. So, but these ones are, they have a course attached to it. So probably you can proceed and read the details on them. So if I just go back to the presentation. So I've already touched on the forum. So I'll now dive into, assuming you've already downloaded the actual platform, I'll now dive into variables and data types, one of the key topics that we are to look at. So what is a variable?
Can we see if anyone was able to download Studio? Can you guys tell us in the chat whether anyone has downloaded?
Let's go back.
Okay, Sad has downloaded. Punit did too. Okay. So we have about half of the people download this studio, I think. Great, SK. Thank you. Okay, we can.
Okay, just to comment. So I've attached a link once you'll be sharing in the event you need further assistance. I've attached a sample video that was done by some of us, and you can watch it so that you can understand on how you can proceed in terms of downloading the same. Okay. So I'll move quickly to variables and data types. So this is something that you'll be mainly interacting with once you log into the UiPath Studio. And so to start us off, I'll start by defining what is a variable. And in this case, I'm defining a variable as a property that can be used to store information or data. So for example, you have, let me just quickly show you guys. So for example, you have, let's say, variable name is results. So if you have, let's say you have inside there, you have 1, 2, 3. So you're storing this string 1, 2, 3 in this particular variable called results. Same case if you have variable, let's say results again, and you say 1, 2, 3. So you're storing this as an integer in this particular variable. So this is a variable. It's a property that can be used to store data. So some of the commonly used data types, I think I've already mentioned that. So the first bit is on string. So string refers more to a text, and you notice that in UiPath, once you're trying to store a variable and a string, you'll have to use the double quotes. Then you put that particular item. So if I put 1, 2, 3, this one will be read as a string as opposed to a number. We also have other examples is probably your name is a string, Nairobi, Kenya is a string, etc. The next bit is on numeric. So this is integer. This relates to integer. So anything that has, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all those can be treated as numeric or an integer. Okay. So we'll also dive into further once I open Studio. So the next bit is on Boolean. So here relates to, it can store information either as two options, either a true or a false. So that one will just be true or false. I'll quickly touch base on it once you log into Studio. Then the next bit is on date and time. For example, you have specific variables whereby you want to store them as a date. One of the key things that you can go and store it as, you should go to one of the option is you can store it as a date and time, so that you can quickly be able to iterate and use it if you're going to use it further. The next bit is on collections. So collection is divided into 3 aspects. For example, the first bit is a list, the second bit is an array, and the last bit is a dictionary. I'll take you guys slowly once you go to the actual platform. So an array here, for example, if I put something like this, so basically this is an example of array. Is used to store value of a particular data. So this is an example, but you'll notice that you must define the number. So if you're looking at a list, you'll say, so for example, if you were to do it in Excel, I'll say probably A1 to A. So it's picking a particular item. And if you're looking probably at a list, and your list is similar to array, but in this case, you are using the complete collection of that particular data set that you have defined. So in this case, I can just say column A relates to all the list of items that I want to pick. And last bit I'll touch on is on the dictionary. So this one, just probably to help you guys understand, it has 2 items. The first one is a key, the next one is a value. And to help you further understand is that if you're looking at this, let's say a more basic example, let's say a home, for example. So a house, it has inside there, it has some assets, it has some of your belongings. So a house here can relate to the value, and the key, the actual key that you use to open the house, can relate now to the key. So this is a basic understanding of the same, but once you progress, I'll be able to show you how to use it further. The next bit is a generic value. So for example, you're working on something and you do not know where to actually categorize it. You can use a generic value just to store that particular variable. Okay. So I'll quickly touch on control flows. So, and I'll be able also to take you in depth a bit on the same in the actual demo. So we'll start the first bit on sequence. So a sequence clearly shows that the actual steps. So for example, the first example I mentioned is on opening an account. So the first step is to fill the application form. Then the second step is to review the application form. And probably the last step is to onboard that customer, feed that application form to a CRM or to a particular system. So that specific sequence, that flow, logical flow of items and tasks, that's what we relate to as a sequence. The next bit is on a flowchart. So here we normally use this one where we have a decision to be made. For example, I have the first step is I give you a pop-up and ask you to give me your email address. You give me your email address. Then the next bit is I send you an OTP or I send you a question, you answer, and you're supposed to input that particular item there. Once you input that one, we are doing more of a flow. And same case here, I'll be able to like touch base on it when you're doing the practical examples. Last bit is on a state machine. So here is whereby you're moving from one state to another based either of an event or based triggered by something. Same case this one. So this one is more advanced and probably I'd like this one to be touched on as you progress rather than touching it today to give you guys a sense of it. So the most common flows on control, they relate to, for example, if function. For example, if this happened, then this should be performed. While is something we are mentioning that for this particular condition, you have to pass it through these particular steps or these particular alterations. The next bit is on do while. So do while is almost similar to while, but now this one is saying that something is done, then the condition is checked. So for example, the first bit was pay, then check the account was funded. So this one will just pay, then check. The first one is check, then pay. If I was to use while, I have to check that the account is funded, then I can proceed to pay. So do while, that's the difference between while and do while. For each, I believe this is something that you'll be interacting with it mainly. So for each, you're passing each, let's say the array that we had. I can quickly just mention. So for example, the array that we had, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's say we have this particular array, and for each item, let's say we're doing probably a VLOOKUP. So for each item, you're passing this specific number to some specific steps that you're going to define. So for example, if it's 1, for each item in 1, I have to take it through specific steps. Same case for each item in 2, I have to take it through specific steps. Same case for the rest. Okay, I'll be able probably to show you similar on the same as we progress. Okay, so probably let me just proceed and open Studio. So for these, I was creating these. Okay, so probably I'll just run this one first, then I can help you guys understand on what it means. Okay, so it has run. So remember we are starting on variables. So in this case, I'm storing I'm storing A as a string, whereby here you have in quotes 1, 2, 3. Same case to B as a string, whereby I'm storing at 4, 5, 6. And C and D, I'm storing them as in this case, I'm using generic value, or you can store them as integers if you like. And you can see is 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5, 6. So the question probably I can throw to the team is, what is A plus B? Noting that A is equals to 1, 2, 3, and B is equals to 4, 5, 6. Probably someone can give me an answer on the same. You're free to unmute and probably comment. That is C plus D. So the first question is, what is A plus B? And what is the second question is, what is C plus D? So A relates to this, and C plus D relates to this and this. Anyone in the audience who would like to try?
They have pasted some answers in chat.
Oh, I can't see the chat.
They said
Probably you
it's
can read
1,
me
2,
one
3,
of the
4,
answer.
5, 6.
A plus B. Okay, that's correct, because you can see this is a string and this is a string. So what is C plus D?
Saad replied that it's 579, 579.
Okay, so
He added
they're
it up,
both
it's a
correct.
sum. Yeah.
Yes. So that's basically, I was just testing your understanding on our definition of a string as well as a number. So the output would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is A plus B. And the next bit, if it was C plus D, then the output would have been 579. So whoever answered is correct, or she's correct. So the next bit probably I can touch on is on an array. Okay, so you'll be able to interact with these particular aspects, but I'll just proceed and touch on. So what I'm trying to do is to using an assign function. So I've just pulled in an assign, whereby we have now, let me just click on the variable so that you can also understand. So I'm using a variable here. So let me just show you, for example, to further understand. So we have different variables. Like I mentioned, we have the string, we have the Boolean. So in this case, if you're using true or false, you can use this one. We have the integer. So this is whereby you're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We also have additional, assuming what you're looking for is not here, you can click on browse for types. Then here you can be able to select from a very dynamic list, and you can just pull it in. So for example, if, like I mentioned, dictionary, if you're looking for dictionary, you can just proceed and select system dictionary. System dictionary, system dictionary. System dictionary. System. So if you're looking, for example, cancel the dictionary. I already have mine installed, but if you're looking for a dictionary, same case, you can proceed and select it from here, and it will show you something like this. I already have mine installed, so it will be system.data or something, or system.string if you're looking for the same. So in this case, I'm trying to pass an array of 2. Let's say we have a string here, whereby we have John and Doe, and I like to proceed and just pass it through and create a space in between John and Doe. And so this, I'm logging a message. So this is more like a pop-up. So if I just run it through, you'll see here it has started. Then you'll see the name. No, it has not picked. So you'll see the name on the output. You'll see there was no space. So probably if I just go back to my example and include a space there and run it, it has started. Then you'll see it's quite fast. Then you'll see John space do. So that's just a quick example of an array. But let me just take you guys quickly on the actual different examples of a sequence, a flow. I'll skip these two because it's quite advanced and I don't want to touch it now. But I'll just give a mention of a sequence as well as on a flow. So like I mentioned, a sequence it follows specific. So in the example I gave, it follows specific steps. So here I've created a simple sequence whereby in the first bit, I'm asking you probably to give me a number. Then once you give me a number, I ask you second question, probably to give me a second number. Then I proceed and do a quick subtraction function and I proceed to write it. So let me just open the variable so that you can understand same case. So the input here, I'm using an integer. For all of them, I'm using an integer. But now in the last bit whereby we are writing the subtraction, once it's subtract, I'm converting that integer to a string. So you can see subtract dot to string. So I'll proceed to run it. Okay, so it will bring the first pop-up, input number. So I'll say 50. Then it will run the second bit, then input second number. So I'll say, let's say 10. Then the output here, it will be 50 minus 10, which is 40. So here I'm using a sequence whereby it's following specific steps. Okay. So lastly, we mentioned about the flowchart. So I'll proceed and give you a chance to look at the flowchart. So nice. And this one has the Boolean. So here the flowchart, same case, I'm having an input dialog. Then I'm running it through a Boolean whereby the results can either be a true or a false. If it's a true, it will give you this particular pop-up. If it's a false, it will give you this particular pop-up. So if I just probably open this one so that you can. So the pop-up here will be that's correct. And the other pop-up in this side will be that's wrong, please recheck. And the input dialog here, if I can just proceed and run it so that you can understand. So the question is, what's the day of the week? Let's say it's today. Let's say it's Monday. Let's say it's Thursday. So it will run through this particular check and see if today is the actual date that I've set it, if it's Thursday. If it's false, this is good. This is the message that is happening. That's wrong, please recheck. Then you can run it probably again. Day of the week. So let's say today is the actual day, Saturday. It will run. If it's true, then it will bring this pop-up. Okay. So that's just a basic understanding on UiPath Studio. There's a lot you can learn from it. I'll still refer you to the Academy, where they'll be able to take you step by step on how you can be able to use some of the features that we have, some of the tools here. For example, like I mentioned, whereby you want to run through OLX as well as Jumia to gather those data. You can be able to do that using screen scrapping. You can be able to record your screen. So there's a lot you can do, and there's a lot to learn. So I'll still refer you to the Academy so that you can be able to pick those aspects and try to do your actual software robots for a starter. Okay. So here is probably just to mention. So here we have the for each loop that I was referencing. Let me just add it here. Double click. So what's happening is that it will bring this pop-up. So this one says that for each, remember the array that I had created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for each item in that array, assuming it is called item, or you can just call it array, then if I already have it somewhere in this particular variable, then I'm supposed to do this. Okay. So the body gives you the ability now to input what you want it to do. If it's a VLOOKUP, if it's to send messages, is to create an email basically on that particular item, it's supposed to put that on. I'm seeing some of the guys are texting me and saying this time is a bit overdue. So allow me just to stop there, and we can see if we can respond to questions. And from that, you can see how we can schedule the next session so that you can also be able to discuss in depth on either UiPath Studio and learn more on the same. So let me just go back to the questions so that was. So probably we can unmute some of us and ask some questions.
Okay, so we are starting the Q&A part. You can go to the slide with the question mark now, Jonathan. Yeah, so we're opening Q&A. If you guys have any questions for Jonathan or Ishmeet. Okay, Saad is saying, I have a question. I'm new to RPA and also a newbie at coding. So I want to know which programming language we need to become UiPath developer. And you could please suggest a good resource to learn the said language.
Okay, so probably I can.
That's an easy answer. Yeah,
Yes.
you will answer. Yeah.
So, like we have mentioned, the best place to start is on the academy.uipath.com, whereby, if you can recall, it gives you the basic. If you are a beginner, if you're at advanced level, you can start there. The beauty about UiPath is it's not IT specific, whereby you need to write codes, you need to put JavaScripts, all those. It just gives you the basic understanding. So it will show you, if you, for example, if you log into Studio, these are the steps that you need to do. So once you learn and you try and implement the same, once you have downloaded the UiPath Studio, you can be able to quickly build your muscles around RPA.
So the simple answer to that, Saad, is that officially to become an RPA developer, you do not need to know a coding language. You can just start on Academy with the RPA developer courses. So you do not need a coding or a specific coding language or experience. We have separate tracks on Academy for citizen developers and for RPA developers, and you can start on each of those, and I will show you in the end. Of course, the rest of what Jonathan said. So you have all the resources in Academy if you want to start your learning path to becoming an RPA developer. And then on top of that learning path, remember that earlier on, Jonathan showed you a specific certification from UiPath, which comes with a cost. I think we have 2 of those, if I'm not mistaken. Ishmeet can correct me. Correct. And those are the certifications which you would actually need to prove. Let's say they are the official professional certifications from UiPath. But I think not everyone currently employed as an RPA developer has them. I know in the last year they've become more of a request from companies that employ RPA developers. So that is like the peak of your learning path in UiPath, owning those certifications. But I will show you at the end of the session, I will show you exactly where you can start. Okay, and we also had another question, I think, from Saad earlier, which I promised to address. Let me see it here, where it was. Okay. This was addressed. No, I think we gave everything. Okay, we have another question now at the end. From Ravi, when is week 2 session? Do we need to register for that? Yes, we will try to publish the next session on Monday. So if you have registered for the Nairobi chapter, remember I gave you the link in chat, and I'm also going to show you a share screen where the Nairobi chapter is to be found. You will be notified immediately as the session is published, and you can RSVP then. It will happen next week, most probably, the next session. Then Saad is asking again, is that the case even for advanced developer role, no coding? Ishmeet, can you answer to that one? Like how much coding experience, other coding experience, what RPA do you need to reach the advanced RPA developer state?
Absolutely, absolutely. So see, Saad, actually, you don't need any coding experience in order to become an advanced RPA developer. And specifically with UiPath, like I told you, and like Jonathan also told you, that there is no need of actually going ahead and learning or diving into any kind of thing. You just need to get started with UiPath and develop your logics within it. Having that said, it's good if you can learn a little bit about .NET and C# because ultimately UiPath is based on that, and you can actually utilize quite a lot of their methods. So I, as a UiPath developer, actually have a fairly good amount of knowledge on the languages, and I actually implement like their methods, not the entire code. Methods like if I want to format a string, if I want to add 2 strings or something like that, or if I want to manipulate dates. Those kind of things I use with the help of .NET methods. So you can dive into that. You can learn a bit more about it, learn about link queries and everything. And this particular question was also raised in one of my sessions as well. And what I noticed is that in Academy, there is more and more awareness coming to the programming part of it. If you go in Academy, there you will actually see courses on link queries, courses on CSS, CSS selectors, and a couple of other things that are actually related to both UiPath and the programming.
Okay, I see Saad had also posed another question earlier, the one I was looking for. He was asking what is the difference between process mining and task mining? So
that's a course that we are planning to take us through, but I'll allow Ishmi to probably to just mention because he's the guy who's going to lead us this during the session.
So in a very brief, task mining is analyzing your company's data. So see, each and every application that you actually use generates some kind of logs, generates some kind of a metadata. So task mining is essentially using that particular data to analyze any kind of automation opportunities. Process mining is something similar, but it also involves a human component. And in this, you actually can say there is an AI model in which you feed the data, and it tells you essentially what's the best way of automating and managing the process. So both are quite similar, but the data is different.
Okay, Saad, I'm glad you got the answers. Okay. Does anyone else want to ask a question? Okay, I think I propose that you stop screen sharing now, Jonathan, so I can start screen sharing. And let me just before I do this. Okay. Can you stop screen sharing, Jonathan? Okay, I stopped you. So guys, about the community, Jonathan already took you through this. So if you go to community.uipath.com, you will find this web page, which is actually our entire platform. It is a different page from the company page, and it is a page entirely dedicated to the UiPath community of developers or the ones who want to become RPA developers with UiPath tools. Some of the main things that would be useful for you, you can find here all upcoming events in this section if you go. And you will see here, events are in different chapters across the globe and also regarding different product features or, of course, different levels of expertise. Academy is what we kept mentioning throughout the course, and this, I think I have it open here. So if you go to Academy, this is the entire learning platform. So if you want to start out and become an RPA developer, or you are at an intermediate stage, you can start out here and you just go on courses in Academy. It's academy.uipath.com. You have the link in the chat box because I placed it there earlier. And if you are just starting out, go here to category, click RPA Starter, and you will find these two courses. This is the introduction to RPA and automation, which I think Jonathan did really well today already. So I think you needn't take this course anymore. And this is an RPA starter course, which takes you a bit in depth into the RPA process. And then when you are finished with this, now it depends whether you want simply to learn automating in your current role, or you are really looking to become an RPA developer. And if you're looking to become an RPA developer, then you go to the foundation course, RPA Developer Foundation. This is the course on Academy. For the ones of you who don't want to become an RPA developer, but want to learn to automate in their current positions, we have the Citizen Developer Foundation. The difference between these two courses, the one for developers and the one for citizen developers, is that Citizen Developer is the same program, Studio, but it is designed for the ones with no technical background and which do not want to become RPA developers as a function, as a job, let's say. So this is a no-code, low-code platform, RPA Citizen Developer Studio X, and this takes you through Studio. RPA Developer will take you through Studio. These are the two courses that I think you can continue on from today and probably from the next session onwards. I recommend that you go first through the RPA Starter just to get a very good, let's say, context of the automation processes, because that really gets you the full understanding of RPA. And then when you start learning the programs, it will be much more easier. All these courses have a very slow pace. They are very logical. They are filled with video content and all of that. So it's very easy. These are entirely free. So they are free of charge. And you also have a certificate at the end of each course, which is also free. So these have nothing to do with the official certifications. You can see you have a diploma of completion here, which you will unlock when you end the module. And you can have this sent on your email or download it. Okay, now going back to community, I've taken you through Academy. One other important resource for you, of course, is Forum, because once you get into these courses and start learning all about the UiPath products, whether it is Studio X or Studio, you will want to ask questions. And here on the forum, you can just click and select topics and first of all, you will be able to see all the questions that were already asked and all the answers. So you'll be easily be able to find an answer that you're looking for, or you will simply be able to ask a new question in the topic of that product. There is our entire community of developers is here. The MVPs are providing support and feedback, our product managers too. So this is the place if you want to get answers and interact with our community, UiPath Forum. Then now let's say you want to join the Nairobi chapter if you haven't already. And for this, you go on the main page, community.uipath.com. You go at the bottom of the page here. And here you will find this worldwide map. And you can just search a city or country to search for the chapter. Okay. And this is the Nairobi chapter, which I also pasted in chat earlier. Please join the chapter. In this way, you will be notified of all upcoming events in the area. If you join the chapter, you will get a notification each time we publish an event in this chapter. And you can also, of course, search for other chapters. Like if you want to search English language chapters, we have London, and we have the Citizen Developer chapter on this. So this is entirely in English language, and all the events from Citizen Developer chapter will be published here as well. You can play around and see what the chapters have to offer and in what language the events are, and decide what you choose. Or directly search the events that we have upcoming. Here they are all centralized from all the chapters across the world. Yeah. Okay, so I suppose we will publish the next session on Monday after we finish the agenda. If there are any questions regarding the UiPath ecosystem, the community ecosystem, you can just let me know in chat. And I hope you enjoyed today. I think you have Jonathan's profile. Perhaps he can also write down in chat his email to you if you have any questions. I will also place here my email. But actually, you can contact us anytime. So any questions you might have, you can place on community@uipath.com. So this is the direct email for the community team. And if you have any questions regarding any of our products in community, any of the features in the ecosystem, your learning path, events, chapters, if you want to join a specific thing, just drop us an email in community. Or if you want to open a new chapter in another city or another area, another country. Okay, so thank you, Ishmeet. Thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan, I think I will let you close the meeting since it's your chapter.
Okay, thank you so much, Christina, and thank you so much, Ishmeet. I'd like just to pass my vote of thanks to everyone who has joined, and all those who have, I've seen some of them are sending their questions and their comments also on chat. So thank you, guys. And in the next session, we'll be taking up Studio. So in this one, probably it will be led either by myself or by Ishmeet or by someone else from the team. And we're looking forward for automating and learning from you guys. If you have probably an item that you need to share with the team, you're free to reach out through chat, or you're free to engage us so that you can be able to publish the same. So I'd like to wish everyone a happy Saturday, and enjoy your afternoon. If it's depending on where you are, for example, Ishmeet, and for the rest of the guys, have a good day.